Point. So, I played Little League football in Long Island. I spent a lot of time out here. So, it's just amazing to just be recognized, and every award matters. And when your own community, this is like truly my roots. This is part of my roots and part of, where I come from. And when the people honor you where you come from, there's a certain level of it just feels a little bit more sincere.
Absolutely.
And a little more truthful. So I'm very thankful. Yeah.
Nice. LL.
Any other questions?
Yes. How do you think the hip-hop industry of music has changed from the time you first entered L and Grandmaster Flash? And how difficult you think it is for an artist to achieve success in the hip-hop industry today?
I think from its inception, from that perspective, it's changed because at one point it was just a cult. It was something that was created in the Bronx by, Africa Bambaataa, Kool Herc, Grandmaster Flash, and it went from that to being now a worldwide phenomenon. It's eclipsed every other music out there. I think that now, for me, it allows me to go to different parts of the world and explain this wonderful culture, this wonderful concept called hip-hop to people who don't speak the language, who don't understand the culture of where it comes from or don't know where it came from as far as the Mecca is concerned. And this gives me an avenue to be able to take this thing and go around the planet with this. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, and I think that hip hop has really matured. I think that it's gotten to the point now where there are different generations that enjoy different aspects of the music, which is very interesting. There was a time when most of the people that made the music were around the same age. Nowadays, you have parents that like one part of hip hop. You have kids that like another part of hip hop. You have radio stations that play hip hop that the parents don't like, but the parents have their favorite hip hop that they still want to play. I mean, so there's a lot of diversity, I think, in hip hop now. Whereas before it was just this one thing. So that's probably to me the most interesting change. That's probably it.
What's hip hop to you, personally?
Grandmaster Flash is hip hop, man. I mean, hip hop to me is just a way of life. It's just a culture that we have. It's everything we do. It's the DJs, it's the dancers, it's the rappers, it's the MCs,
it's graffiti artists,
it's everything that you can name. But also hip hop is the bike messenger and his sensibility when he rolls his pants leg up and I start taking that and moving it around the world. It's it's the guy who's driving the UPS truck, but he has his iPod in one ear and you see him bopping his head. Hip hop is also the people that listen to the music. It's the stockbrokers in the boiler room who jump in the cars and listen to their music. It's a lot of things. It's a way of life.
Excuse me, LL. Through the years and through being in hip hop, what do you think about the opportunities of distribution as a president, as an owner, distribution on the level of BMG, distribution on the level of Hedge distribution?
I understand what you're saying, but when you say the fact that you name BMG tells me that in a lot of ways you're looking at an archaic form of distribution. In reality, distribution and the methods of distribution have changed, and there's been a democratization of distribution.
Absolutely.
I.e., via the internet. You know what I mean? So, the idea of just, having a bunch of trucks and having those trucks take CDs around the country, that's not really the platform anymore. Kids are getting their music without any physical attachments to it. It's just binary code. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think, I have a digital distribution network called BoomDizzle.com. That's a platform for a lot of young aspiring artists.
Right.
And that platform has thousands of artists on it and hundreds of thousands of songs on it, and they're growing through the ranks and guiding. And it has an online studio, so a kid in Albuquerque can make a song with a kid in LA, or a kid in Washington State can make a song with a producer in Miami without ever meeting. So I mean,
that's a good point.
Distribution is a whole nother thing now.
It's changing.
For me.
Good point.
Good point, man.
Okay.
Gotta say the more behind that heat.
Okay, one other question I'd like to ask, and I want to compliment both of you on your careers being one of that has been wholesome and I guess genuine. The reason I say that because I'm going to talk about responsibility. Who does responsibility falls on when it comes to the lyrics and the music that's put out there?
That.
Okay. Or should
Whenever I'm asked this question, it throws me on what the media sort of takes as wrong or right. I think when it comes to an artist, there should be a freedom of what that person writes about. And the reason why I say that is because when you are 18 and above, you are an adult. That's rites of passage. At that particular point, you should be able to see anything that an adult can see. I think where it becomes dangerous lyrically is when that same song or that same writings is in the eyes of a child. That's when it becomes a problem. So it's not actually, I mean, in my opinion, it's not what the artist writes about, because me as an adult, I can sit here and write anything and then show it to you as an adult, and it won't be an insult. But if I take it to a child, that's where the big problem is here, is when children hear certain things and they emulate what they hear, and they innocently repeat these words, not realizing what these words are, then, in my opinion, is where it becomes a serious problem. So for me, I don't think it's not what the artist writes, it's who hears it, who sees it.
Okay.
That's where it becomes quite dangerous. And I think that the artist is not the problem.
My opinion on it is that the deeper question is about parenting, really. I do try to be responsible, and I will. If I do an album that has a parental advisory sticker, I'll also do a clean album where I alter the content somewhat so that it is a little more friendly, so a soccer mom can play it for her children. But at the same time, it is her or his responsibility to go in that room and push pause or push stop on the computer and say, you can't listen to this in my home. That's that part of it too. So I think that it's a twofold scenario. I think for artists that are a little more mature and that have been around the music business for longer, they understand their influence a lot more. And to he who much is given, much is required from, or required of. So for that person, I think you have to be responsible. But for a guy that's only been in the business for 3, 4, 5 years and doesn't even understand where he's at, he just got off the bus himself. So now you're expecting him to make this contribution to society and affect society in a way that society didn't affect him.
Sure.
So it's kind of like, what we got to do is I think you got to slice it into categories. This guy's been around long enough to kind of know better. This guy's a little new. Let him do what he has to do. And then and beyond that, it's about parenting. And this is America. And we are free, and that is part of the beauty of our country, to be free to say the things we want.
Thank you.
Joining Grandmaster Flash and LL Cool J is Felix Cavalier of the Rascals, a inductee in 2006, and the Radio Chick. Because every table needs a beautiful woman.
It always does. Well, everybody, I want to thank you for having me, and let you know that I appreciate you. Flash.
Long distance.
So who you vote for president?
I'll let you guys decide who you want to vote for president. I'll decide who I want to vote for. I hope you make the right decision. I'm sure I will.
Show you right.
Take care, guys.
Thank you. Grandmaster Flash, check it in. All right, my brothers.
Power to you.
Take it. Good. Congratulations, my brother.
Thanks, Grandmaster Flash, man.
Good?
We're done. Yes, we're
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
Yes, man.